My name is Steven Vitti. I am an assistant teaching professor in the health sciences department. So I teach health sciences classes in addition to exercise science classes now. I think first it's important to understand that the student trajectory is not a linear one. It's kind of a circuitous trajectory. And oftentimes, students will come into a program wanting to do X, wanting to be in medicine, wanting to be in physical therapy. And what's wonderful is that as they begin to move through the curriculum, they're taking more courses, they're getting more exposure to the many facets of health sciences. Ultimately, the end output can shift a little bit, right? Instead of medicine, they might want to be into, some subset of health sciences. And so really what I tell students is that the world is your oyster after leaving health sciences, leaving here with a health sciences degree. The world is your oyster. And what I mean is you can virtually move into any occupation that's associated with health sciences. And I'm not just saying this. And I think that what's wonderful about this health science program is that I truly believe that we adequately equip students to be the front runners in the field, whatever they decide to do. The majority of time, health sciences students tend to go in three directions. It's physical therapy, the physician assistant program, or into medicine. Exercise science is different because it focuses, of course, primarily on exercise and the impact that exercise has on health and well-being. So when students enter the exercise science program, they're exposed to virtually every facet of exercise science, from the cellular level to the gross movement level to even the psychological level. And they're learning, they're taking these courses that equip them to, pursue careers in some movement-related science. What was most attractive about Drexel was the program. And I went into Drexel thinking that, it's an institution. And, if they offer, I'll take it. But it's funny, as I was going through the interview process, as I'm doing my research into Drexel's programs and what they offer, I became more and more excited. I initially thought I was going to enter in to the candidate pool, completely indifferent as to whether or not I got the job. And I remember telling my wife that as I'm approaching the interview, I'm completely stressed because everything that Drexel has to offer excites me. The co-op experience, right? Students have this opportunity to have a hands-on experience, either in the field that they're interested or in research. I engage in the research enterprise, and I, in the past, have included students into the research enterprise as well. But Drexel provides kind of the infrastructure that encourages students to participate in the research enterprise, which to me is very exciting and also equally as important because research confers teaching, and which confers research. And so it's this beautiful cycle of learning. What now excites me about Drexel, in addition to what we have to offer students, is the student body themselves. I have taught throughout my graduate school and into my professional life. I've taught at many institutions. I have never, and I say this so honestly, I have never experienced a student body so intellectually inclined, so engaging, where I prepare for my lectures out of necessity, and I prepare for questions that might not necessarily be taught in class, but that might come out of curiosity. Being at Drexel has forced me to prepare in a way that I've never prepared before. I have students asking the greatest questions. And it's exciting to me because that's how I was as a student. And I think that inquisitiveness is certainly it's a reflection of a student passion. And I've never seen student passion. I've never seen inquisitiveness to the degree I've seen here at Drexel, and it's exciting for me. Sometimes I forget I'm working. You know that? I can't believe that they're paying me to do this. I have the best job in the world. I get to profess literally what I love. I love physiology. I love sciences, full stop. I love engaging in intellectual conversations with people who are masters of disciplines that I have absolutely no knowledge on, because it makes me, it broadens my intellectual horizons, and it makes me a better human, a better, steward of this college, of the world. Exercise physiology is an applied physiology course. So it essentially takes everything that the students learned in anatomy and physiology, and I like to say that it shakes them up. So it's kind of like a snow globe. You know, they learned everything in anatomy and physiology, the information settles, and then they move into exercise physiology, and you shake it up, and things are just chaotic. There's a lot of moving parts. But what I love about it is that, you know, we start at the cellular level and then we move through the human organism in a very hierarchical way. You know, we're starting at the cellular level, then looking at the tissue, and then, you know, looking at each system individually, then looking at how these systems are working synergistically to maintain homeostasis in the human organism. A health sciences degree, specifically our health science degree, in addition to offering a broad range of classes. So students are going to learn about, you know, civics in health sciences, current issues in health sciences. They're also exposed to basic sciences as well as the applied sciences and pathophysiology. But in addition to all that, they're getting a co-op experience. So they're getting hands-on experience in medicine early on. And that's important because students need to know. I said that the student trajectory is a circuitous one. So we want to make sure that students are not just adequately prepared, but that they're certain going into whatever profession post-graduation, they are certain that this is what they want to do. And that co-op experience, instead of at other institutions, it's backloaded. They experience that in their internship, in their final year. Here, they're getting it in their sophomore, junior year, so they get a good idea as to whether or not they want to pursue this particular career. And that's great because, as I said, a circuitous journey, but our program does a really good job of preparing students, you know, to move laterally. Instead of maybe you're not interested in emergency medicine, maybe you're interested in audiology, maybe you're interested in pharmacology, you're adequately prepared to pursue that post-graduation. But in addition to that, we have a great faculty here. Great faculty in the diversity in expertise. So we have a very diverse faculty and expertise that a lot of which are, again, you know, big names in the fields that they're in. So they have an opportunity to work with this faculty member to get research experience as well. So they're getting the clinical hands-on experience, they're getting the research experience, they're getting the entire medical health sciences experience to make them the most well-rounded student, to make them the most, the strongest candidate applying for jobs. What's great is that it gives us also an opportunity to marry what they've learned in the classroom. That's important. Giving students research experience or any experience removes them from the vacuum that is the classroom, removes them from the vacuum that is the textbook and the PowerPoint slides, because students tend to think, you know, in one direction. And that's why they're here. They're here to learn. But, you know, they think that if we do this to X, we'll get Y. And what's nice is when you take them into the real world, either a lab or in clinical setting, you're going to realize that there's this nebulous space between X and Y that's not in the textbook. So it calls upon critical faculties that you've developed throughout your time at Drexel to kind of make an informed decision in real time. What are faculty bringing into the classroom? You know, experience, and marrying their experience with the information in a way that makes students educated consumers of knowledge and interpreters of experiences. Here at Drexel, we're encouraged to take workshops that teach us how to be better educators, how to factor in diversity, how to factor in inclusion. What does diversity and inclusion mean? You know, in the classroom. That is another thing that we know what diversity is. We know what inclusion is. Constitutively, we know what those definitions are, but what does that mean at an educational institution? Why does that matter in an educational institution? I can guarantee you that the vast majority of educators probably couldn't answer that. And you know what's interesting is that Drexel indirectly taught me the importance of that, because coming here to Drexel, that was a very important component of the hiring process. We need a diversity, equity, inclusion statement. And then it forces you to sit there and ruminate, well, what is diversity, equity, and inclusion? Well, I know what that is, but how does it pertain to education? And why should I care? So it kind of, even before I was here at Drexel, prepared me to be a better educator And now I'm in workshops. I'm in the Institution for Diversity and Inclusion in Teaching. I'm taking another teaching course. Drexel provides resources for the educators themselves to be better educators in the classroom. It's our jobs as educators to not just teach. Like, they can read the book. This information is ubiquitous. The advent of technology made information ubiquitous. Students can learn anywhere and learn anything on their own. Our role as educators is to teach them how to learn. How do you learn this information? Teaching them the importance of communication. Teaching them the importance of knowing what you want to do and how to identify that. Knowing that when they're entering in as an undergrad, their opportunities are so broad. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they don't know. But it's also to teach them, it's very important that you need to let go. Once something becomes useless to you, if you're not in it, if you're not completely excited, right? If I always say it's either a yes or a no. It's either heck yeah or heck no. If you're still not heck yang, it's probably a heck no, and that is valuable. You need to learn how to detach yourself from that, from your endpoint. You need to learn how to detach yourself. Okay, maybe physical therapy isn't for me. Now what? And that to me is exciting. And as an educator, I have to convince them. It's like a sales job. I have to convince my students that this is still exciting. This is an exploratory moment. You're taking courses that are not about health sciences. This is about you, man. As a physiologist, I'm like, I have a lot of students come into my class that it's a requirement, exercise physiology. This is not a course on exercise physiology. This is a course about you. This is the story of the cell. What happens when we put the cell in this environment? That's what happens to you. When you go from a supine to a standing position, your heart rate increases. Why? Oh, well, because we have to maintain blood pressure. Why? Well, perfusion pressure is important for oxygen and nutrient deliverance. Why? Because oxygen and nutrients are vital to life. Why? Because why? It's a story about you. That's exciting. We have to convince students that why they're here is exciting. It's not about the GPA. It's not about the end game. You should be passionate about what you're doing. Everything else will fall into place. It shouldn't have to be a task for you to study. You are developing who you are as a human being, and this will have resonating effects. And it's so exciting. I think it's important to be real with students. And that, especially in Philadelphia, there's no shortage of institutions that provide good educations and, let's be honest, that are cheaper, right? And I think this confirms why I believe in Drexel so much, is that the education that you're going to get here at Drexel is different. We say it's different, but it is different. You look on paper, it's different, but to experience Drexel University is a different experience. I challenge anyone that has familiarity with any other institution to come here at Drexel and experience Drexel. The student body is different. The pace with which you move through your coursework is different. The experience is different. And it's no surprise that students leave Drexel head and shoulders above any other student at any other institution.